Good morning, students. So, till the last session, we learned about the definition of time. We learned the different SI unit system. We learned the submultiples and the multiples of the SI unit system. We were able to learn how to convert time based on the larger quantity to smaller and smaller to larger quantity. We were able to understand the different types of clock that were used in the earlier times and the principle or the working of a simple pendulum. Now, moving on forward for this session, today we are going to learn motion. We will be able to define what is motion. We'll be able to define what do we understand by the term rest. We will be able to understand the concept of speed, the unit of speed, followed by we will be learning the formula for speed, distance, and time. We'll be able to calculate based on the formula that we learn. We'll be able to calculate speed based on the measures that are given to us. So now, whenever we come across this concept of motion, whenever we say or use this term motion, we always use it with perspective to an object when we see the object moving. Now, when I say the object moving, it means the object is going to move from one place to the other place. So when the object is changing its position from one place to another place with respect to time, according to its surrounding, then we state or we can say that the object is in motion. So in simple terms, when I say motion, motion is a moving object and a body which is moving around with respect to the time. So if I have to define or state what is motion, I'll say an object is said to be in motion when its position changes with respect to time and its surrounding. And then we have another concept over here, which is what is rest. So here again, rest is with respect to an object. Now, whenever we say rest, an object is at rest, we mean that the object has not changed its position at all. Even if the time interval may change, maybe time changes from 1 minute to 2 minutes, 1 hour to 2 hours, but the object remains in the same position. At that time, we state that the object is at rest. So how do we define it? An object is said to be at rest when it does not change its position with time or with respect to the surrounding. Now, together, when we now understand the concept of motion and rest, we need to understand the factors which are responsible for it. Okay, so when we say that an object is moving or the object is said to be in motion, there are two important factors responsible. One is distance, okay, so the distance that is covered by the object and the time taken to cover that distance. Okay, so these are the two concepts, two factors which are responsible in order to understand the motion of an object. And based on these two factors, we can determine or we can even state whether the object is moving fast or the object is moving slow, which we can state them as slow motion and fast motion of the object. Okay, now as here we are stating the slow and fast motion of the object, we will be able to determine and calculate the speed of the moving object. So whenever we have these two factors, distance and time together, okay, based on the measures of distance and time, we can find out the speed of that particular object. With what speed is that object moving towards its destination. So how do we determine or how do we define speed? So the distance covered by a moving body or a moving object in unit time is called as speed. Okay, so now let us see how do we write it down in a form of a formula. So here, as we come across the formula, so here you can see a diagram which I have made on the left hand side, which is a pie chart. So here, how can you relate it? So when you write down or okay, so when we have to write down the formula of the speed, okay, so as we said, distance and time both are considered when you have to calculate the speed. So what is the formula for calculating speed? It is speed is equal to total distance upon time taken, which you can write it down in short form, that is S is equal to D upon T. Okay, so based on that, now let us try to find out what will be the unit of the speed. So as we have already studied what are the different kind of unit, whether it was for time, whether it is for distance, whether it is for weight, in the same way we have unit for speed as well. So we now already know the formula for speed, that is speed is equal to distance upon time. Now let's see what is the unit of distance. So we can take unit of distance as meter, we can even take it as kilometers. Okay, and what is the unit for time? The unit for time is seconds or hours. Now when I am now always remember the students that whenever you are considering your unit of distance in meter, the time that you are taking will always be in the unit of seconds, and whenever you are taking the unit for distance as kilometer, the unit for time will be hour. So here, as we are now considering meter as the unit for distance, so when I have to find out the unit for speed, I will change it. I will just replace the units with the distance and time. So the distance unit is meter, which I have written over here, upon the unit for time, that is second. So in simple, when I want to write down what is the unit of speed, I will say that the unit of speed is meter per second. Okay, as it is a numerator denominator form, so when I'm verbally saying it, I'll say speed is equal to meter per second. Now on daily basis, when I have to find out the on daily basis, when we have to find out the speed of the vehicle in which I am traveling. Okay, so we have special instruments installed in our vehicles. So there are two special instruments over there, which one is speedometer and the other one is odometer. Now when we say speedometer, so always connect speedometer with speed. So speedometer is going to help me in identifying or in calculating or checking the speed of my vehicle. Whereas, okay, so speedometer is going to help us in identifying the speed of the vehicle. Whereas when we come to odometer, the another instrument installed in the vehicle, it helps us in finding out the distance that is being covered by the vehicle in which we are traveling. Okay, so these are the two different instruments which are present in the vehicles. Now coming on to the next concept, that is in the same way how we found out the formula for speed, which was distance upon time. In the same way, if I want to find out time, if in the question they have asked us to find out time, so what's the formula for time? Time is equal to distance upon speed. Whereas when I have to find out the formula for distance, distance is equal to speed into time. Now, in short, I'll just explain you this. You can see the diagrams which are there on the left and right corner of the PPT. Now, here, this will help you somewhere or the other to recollect and remember the formulas for speed, time, and distance. If you see over here, it is just in a form of a pie. Okay, where in distance you can say it is in the numerator, whereas speed and time are just besides each other, which we can state that they are in the denominator. Okay, so whenever I have to find out, say for example, now I am trying to find out the formula for time. So therein, what will I do is I see that my distance here is in numerator and speed is in the denominator. Correct? So I can easily write it down. Time is equal to distance upon speed. In the same way, if you go for distance, over here, if I have to find out the formula for distance, what do I see? Now, speed and time, which are in the denominator and besides each other. So what will I write the formula as? Distance is equal to speed into time. It's an easy way to remember formulas. Okay, so where you can remember or write it down draw it down in your notebook, which will help you in recollecting and remembering, revising the formulas again and again. So as we have now completed with understanding the formulas, how to find out or what is speed and the different formulas for speed, distance and time. Now let's solve some questions related to them. Okay, so here I have put in front of you some questions. There are two questions which we have to solve, which is based on speed, distance, time. Now here let's read the question first. So here it says that a bus travels with a speed of 30 km per hour. Okay, it runs for 6 hours. What distance will the bus cover? So here the first thing, now very important whenever you are solving numerical problems. Okay, so here in front of you I've put in two questions which are based on speed, distance and time. So let's try to solve these questions. So first here let's read the first question. A bus travels with a speed of 30 km per hour. It runs for 6 hours. What distance will the bus cover? Okay, now here one of the most important thing, you must be learning this in your maths as well, wherein whenever you are writing solving numerical sums, therein you need to write statements as well. Okay, so here we will be writing speed of the bus. So what's the speed of the bus over here? It is 30 kilometers per hour. Done. Now the next thing is, what is next given to us? The time that the bus is taking to cover that distance. So time taken by bus is equal, sorry, so I'll just change it. So time taken by bus, which is equal to how many hours? 6 hours. Okay, so now let's find out the distance. So we all know now the formula for distance. So what is the formula for distance over here? Distance is equal to speed into time. Correct? So the speed is given to us. So what's the speed that is given to us? So equal to speed is 30 into, what's the time? 6. Okay, so the time given to us is 6. So 30 into 6. What is the answer that we'll be getting? It will be 180 kilometers. Okay, so at the end, I will conclude the sentence or conclude my answer as that the bus travels 180 kilometers. Okay, so this is how you solve your numerical problem by writing down the statements. Okay, so very simple, remembering the formula of the distance, and based on that, first checking what is the data that is given to us, whether speed is given, time is given, distance is given, and based on that we have to find out the answer. Now let's go on to the next question, try to understand that. Now the next question is, a boy runs 100 meter in 10 minutes. Find out the speed of the boy in meter per second. So let's write down the statement once again. So distance, I'll write distance covered by the boy. So how much distance does the boy covers? The boy covers 100 meter. Okay. Now the next thing that is given to us over here is the time. So time taken to cover the distance. What is the time taken? That is 10 minutes. Now what do we have to find out? We have to find out the speed. Okay, we have to find out what? We have to find out the speed. So let's, sorry. So we have to find out what? We have to find out the speed. So we know the formula for speed. What is the formula for speed? Speed is equal to distance upon time. Okay, now one of the most important thing over here is to read the question properly. They have given us the distance that is in 100 meters. They have given us the time which is in 10 minutes. But then the question here arises is that they want us to find out the speed in meter per second. So is my time taken in meter per second? No. So that is very important over here. That means I have to convert this minute into seconds. So as we have already learned the conversion, so what do I have to do? Larger to smaller quantity. So I will multiply 10 with 60. And what is the answer that I am getting? I'll be getting the answer as 600 seconds. Okay, so now we have the value of time as well in seconds. So it becomes easier for us. So here I will take distance is equal to 100 divided by, as my formula is distance upon time. So 100 divided by 600. When I further solve it, the answer that I would get over here is 0.166 meter per second. Now writing meter per second is very important as a unit after finding out the value for speed. And do not forget the concluding line. So the speed of the boy is how many? How much is the speed? It is 0.166 meter per second. Clear, everyone? So this is the basic numerical that you need to understand and you need to solve. Now, based on this, I am going to give you an assignment for today as we are coming to the end. Therein, I'm going to share with you the last set of questions. Okay, the last set of questions, I'm going to share it with you. So this was something that we solved just now. Now, this is the assignment that I'm sharing it with you all. This is something that I want you to solve it in your notebook. So these are the two questions and this is the homework for you all for today's session. Thank you, everyone.